Hello, everyone. This is John from the Slate A&E Podcast. I'm joined here today by Michael Big Iron Donegan and Matt Weisbecker. Michael is the assistant A&E editor. We are missing Olivia this week. She wasn't able to make it. But Matt Weisbecker here, he's with us. He is the web director. He was also previously general manager for WSYC, so he's really cool. He knows a lot about tech stuff, and he's here to talk about pop culture with us this week. Today we're going to start out with talking about some recent stories we wrote about, as well as a few future stories that we're working on for this week. Then we're going to talk about the Lures concert lineups and the other concerts that are happening on campus that we presently know about, a bunch of student performances as well, and then 2 faculty recitals. It's all really exciting stuff. So let's get right into it, right? So, Michael, do you want to talk about the review you did of the Pipers?
Yeah. So last week, Thursday, I think, the Red Hot Chili Pipers, all the way from Scotland, came on tour.
So, wait, it is the Pipers.
It is the Pipers, yes.
Pipers.
Yes, Pipers.
As in bagpipes, right?
As in bagpipes, yeah,
bagpipes.
that's right.
So they play bagpipes.
Mm-hmm. There was a controversy. People were buying tickets thinking it was the Red Hot Chili Peppers, which, in case it was not.
Yeah. So they were expecting an entirely different thing, right?
Well, not because the Chili Peppers are rock, and that's kind of what the Pipers did. They just incorporated bagpipes into their performance, which I never would have thought. Like, you think bagpipes, old Celtic traditions, old Scottish music, you know.
Don't you mean Celtic?
So,
it's pronounced Celtic.
It's
pronounced Celtic. I'm joking. I'm pulling your leg.
But yeah, I thought it wasn't what I was expecting, basically. It was very rock heavy, very loud, too. My ears were ringing for like 2 hours after the show.
Oh, that's how you know it was good.
Oh, yeah, definitely. But no, it was very fun. Very good show. I was quite impressed. The person who was sitting next to me, I've never heard of the Red Hot Chili Pipers before, and he was like, "Oh yeah, I've been a fan for like 6 years." I'm like, "Oh, okay." That works out. So he was kind of like guiding me through, like, oh, then they're going to perform this song, and you see that thing that they're wearing right there, that's called a whatever. And
what was it, welcome help, or was it obnoxious help?
It was welcome help.
Okay.
It was welcome help. It was good.
And then didn't you say earlier, weren't you telling me that the one guy came over and sat next to you?
Oh yes. So the Pipers are a 9-man ensemble, and they have a head honcho. It was his last night on tour before he went off to Scotland. I think the rest of the Pipers are currently on tour now in the U.S. But for some reason, like during a drumming set in the middle of the performance, he came down where everybody was sitting and sat in my row, like a seat away from me. So I was sitting, and then there was an empty seat next to me, and then an empty seat next to that one, and he sat in that empty seat, and he just sat there for like the whole song, and I'm like, okay.
He was hanging out.
He was hanging out. I wanted to take a selfie. I was too scared, too shy.
Do you think they bought they bought that ticket just for him, or do you think that he took someone's ticket who didn't show up?
It looked packed, but for some reason there was 2 empty seats like next to me. So
right.
I can only assume he took whoever didn't show up seats. But yeah, it was very fun, very good show.
All right. I guess I'll talk about. I did 2 stories this week. So I did a review on the Professor Schoenfeld. She's the choir director over here at SU. She also is a professor over at, I think Getty's. I don't want to say. I don't know for sure. But she's also a professor at other universities and colleges. But she teaches voice, and her expertise is just in voice. And so she has a wonderful soprano voice. So I wrote a review on her, and she did a wonderful job. She was joined by a trumpet player and a pianist all the way out from Nebraska. So they came a long way, but they knew her. I think they went to undergrad or something like that together. But they came and they played. So he would play trumpet, and she played the voice. She sang the voice. And they sang a bunch of sort of older stuff. So I don't think medieval, but there was definitely Baroque in there. It's just sort of older, more classical genre-esque stuff. And then they brought up sort of modern day. So she was singing in sort of a classical style. It wasn't pop. It wasn't anything like that. But it was really just wonderful, really operatic, really high soprano voice. If you don't know what soprano is, it's the highest female voice. And so she gets up there and she just wails away, and it sounds so beautiful, like angels singing. And then the guy, he played trumpet, and he was pretty good too. most of the time it was like they're competing for how high they could go. So the trumpet, I play the trumpet. So the trumpet, you can go as high as you can work for. So some people can get way up there into like third octave and stuff. And so that's where he was up there competing with Schoenfeld, playing trumpet. And it was sort of like they're riffing off each other, like in the music they were having a conversation. So that was really cool.
She's such a talented musician.
She is, yeah.
She really is. I've been to a few chorus concerts and magical concerts, and she's just like playing. She doesn't sing, but like she plays the piano, and she's amazing.
Mm-hmm. So she really did a great job. And then I also wrote a feature. I actually started this for a feature writing class. The feature on Professor Conley. So Professor Conley is an English professor here at Shippensburg University. He teaches stuff like creative writing. He also teaches fiction writing, which is what I'm taking him for now. He also teaches advanced fiction writing, and he's a published author of fiction and young adult novels. And he's really great. He's a great teacher, a great guy, really relatable, really sort of articulate and wise and concerned for students. And so I decided to write a feature on him, and he was really interesting to talk to. He was the youngest of 10 children, so that's a lot. And so he was always the storyteller. So they'd sit at dinner, and Dad would, busy loud table. All of a sudden, Dad would turn to him and say, "Hey boy, how was your day?" It's like that at that moment he'd have an opportunity to tell a story, and it needed to be good. And so he'd figure out how to tell good stories, and that's sort of where he got his start as a writer. Yeah, he was really interesting to talk to and write about. He released a book called Brawler, and it's actually placed in Pennsylvania. Like I read the first chapter of the book earlier this week. It came out on Tuesday. But the first chapter, there's high schools there. I know I have friends who are from high schools there. There's Bishop McDevitt. I know a guy from there. There's all sorts of other places. There's a championship in Hershey. So he ties it to Pennsylvania here in the local area. But it's about a wrestler who's cocky, he's arrogant, he's all full of himself, and he's teasing his opponent when he's about to go off to the championships and meet his dream. He's teasing his opponent. So he almost beats his opponent, and then he backs off, lets the opponent get back up. Then he almost beats the opponent again, and he backs up. And he almost does, and he lets him back up, and the ref is like, "Look, man, just wrestle. Just play the game. You got him. Just win." And then he does some brutal move and takes the other guy out. And then everyone's just kind of booing him and stuff. And then the ref is like, "Yeah, the other guy won. You're disqualified because that was completely unsportsmanlike." And the wrestler punches the ref, and so he's completely kicked out. And so that's sort of where the rest of the book takes off, where he goes under this underground ring and does that. And it's a really interesting concept of how he's his dreams are gone. It's not like he's fighting for his dreams. His dreams are gone, and so now what does he do? And so that's really interesting to read about. And so Conley's a good guy. I like him. He's been really helpful as a professor. He's also been helpful as he's someone to talk to and get advice from for your writing. And so I really appreciated being able to write about him. And so Michael, this week you've got moving on to what we've got coming up this week.
Yeah.
This week you've got a story?
Yes.
What's it about?
The MSA's event on Friday.
Mm-hmm.
Black Experience Tribute. Just celebrating the history of women. And it's going to be a showcase of, I think there's going to be singing, dancing, and
definitely performances. Yeah, there's definitely going to be some talent showing off there.
Yeah, and I'm just pretty excited to go and see what it's all about.
Mm-hmm. There's students. It's going to be a student performance.
Yeah.
Right. So there's going to be students up there.
Mm-hmm.
So that's going to be really interesting. We're recording this on Friday, actually.
Yeah.
Just so the audience knows. And so Michael's going to go there tonight. He's going to write an article, and then by the time this podcast is posted on Tuesday, there will be an article with it. So so be sure to look out for that article. I'm sure you'll be able to find it on the slateonline.com. There's our plug for the website. And that's where you can find all of our articles. All these articles that we're talking about, this is where you can go and read about them. And so I have a story coming up as well. This story is happening tomorrow. The senior art exhibit is actually opening up tomorrow. I think it's at 1, so this is on Saturday it's opening up. And what this is I covered this one last year, I think. So the senior art and design students have this big this is sort of like their magnum opus, their the great crowning achievement of the culmination of their education here at Shippensburg University. And so they opened up the Kaufman Gallery over in Huber Art Center, which is this really big gallery where lots of different pieces of art can be displayed. And so presumably there's going to be some paintings, there's going to be some sculptures. I don't know. I haven't seen anything yet, but I'm really excited to go and see what they've got. Sometimes they've got a lot of like symbolic sort of paintings and stuff, but now they sometimes they'll have like really cool sculptures. Like the one year there's this taxidermized rabbits and owls and stuff, but they had like little plastic like cars and tanks attached to their sides and like armor and stuff, and that had a really good message. So I'm really excited to see how that goes as well. So next topic. So we also have some lineups for the Lures concerts and the student arts for the month of April. We're starting to include this in the paper at the beginning of every month. And so for April, we've got several events coming up here. Let me move the mic over a little bit. So we've got, for the Lures Center, we've got Kinky Boots on April 5th. That's the musical Kinky Boots. We've got the U.S. Army Field Band. There's actually going to be some student performers joining them, which is really interesting. That's happening on April 13th. The SU Community Orchestra, that's going to happen Sunday, April 14th. The Rock of Ages, that's April 18th. That's looking like a rock concert. There's the Drifters, the Platters, and Cornell Gunter's Coasters. Either you guys ever hear of them?
No.
No, maybe that's a separate generation than us. Maybe we're too young for that. But they're coming. That's a combination concert. There will be 3 groups coming together, which looks cool. And then we've got Tim Hawkins live. Any of you guys know Tim Hawkins?
I've heard of him before.
Mm-hmm. I've heard of him too. I'm no expert.
Yeah, I definitely heard the name, but I don't know what he's about.
But he's coming at April 28th, and in all those shows here that I just mentioned are happening at the Lures Center. That's the Lures Performing Arts Center. That's that really big, nice building across from the Cub as you're walking away from Franklin. Now we've got some student arts coming up. Like I said, we've got the senior art exhibit coming up this weekend. Then in about a week, we've got the SU Wind Ensemble and Concert Band concert. That's on April 7th. That's a Sunday. That's in the Lewis Center as well. I will be performing in that. So make sure you come in and support your favorite A&E editor. Then there's the SU Jazz Ensemble concert on April 8th. That's also going to be featuring me. I'm going to be playing the trumpet there. I think I have a few solos there too. So that's going to be really exciting. I love jazz. You like jazz?
I understood that reference.
I think there's a bee in this room around here somewhere flying around. Here for a little stingy. Someone go get me out of here. But that's in the Tuscarora room. That's over off of Reisner Hall. And so I'm excited for that. It's going to be a good concert. Then there's the senior exhibit number 2. So they couldn't fit them all into one, so there's 2. And so that's going to be from April 13th to April 19th in the Kaufman Gallery. Excuse me. Then we have the SU Choirs concert. That's going to be the concert choir and the madrigal choir. That's going to happen on April 15th at 7:30 p.m. And that's going to be in Old Main Chapel. That's in Old Main on the 2nd floor. And then we've got the 41st annual SU Student Art Exhibit. That's going to be another Kaufman exhibit. That's going to be April 27th through May 9th. So that's a little bit a ways. However, get pumped because oftentimes these exhibits, there'll be a lot of good exhibits, but then there'll normally be like 1 or 2 that really stand out, that people just really identify or resonate with. So then we have some faculty presentations. So these are the chapel series. So there's going to be a recital by Fred Dade, April 24th at noon. He is a professor of music over here at Shippensburg University. His office is in the Lewis Performing Arts Center. Oftentimes you'll walk through the PAC in the student area where there are classes, and you'll hear this amazing, gorgeous piano just rolling around. He'll be playing something. It might be Star Wars. It might be something else. But he's just an amazing piano player. So it's going to be April 24th at noon in Old Main Chapel. That's really interesting if you can make it there. He's an amazing piano player, really brilliant. So go see him. And then there is another chapel series featuring the Trio des Alpes. I think that's how that's pronounced. That's going to be April 28th. I don't know much about the group, but presumably they're going to be from a country around the Alps. Maybe they're Italian or French, or Austrian or something like that. I'm not quite sure myself. That's going to be an Old Main Chapel as well. And so there are tons of opportunities here. If you're interested in seeing a concert, interested in getting some live entertainment and going and experiencing some culture, all these performances are really awesome ways to get out there and just go do something that maybe you not do every other day. Right? Yeah.
And one performance that definitely catches my eye on that list is the Rock of Ages.
Rock of Ages?
Yeah, I told my mom about the Piper's concert and how like Gladys Knight, she visited last week, and she's like, "Oh, you gotta see Rock of Ages. You gotta see Rock of Ages." So I'm excited to.
So you just volunteered to cover that one.
I mean,
right?
if you want to look at it that way, yeah. But
all right,
I'm
I'll
very
write that
excited
down.
to see that.
Mikey said he'd do. Rock
I
of
can't take it
Ages.
back either.
Yeah,
You can't take it. It's on recording. I've got
you
you.
got
here.
evidence.
Yep, we've got you.
He's locked in.
All right, so next we're going to talk about, we're going to move on to our pop culture sort of conversation here. And so Michael over here, he's really excited. Matt over here, he's excited too. So we're going to talk about the new Avengers trailer that's been coming out. And we're going to talk a little bit about Captain Marvel as well, right?
Yes. Oh, I'm so pumped. This is
what
my time to shine here, folks.
Matt's been quiet all the whole time. He's been patiently and eagerly waiting.
Yeah, I don't usually do stories or anything, but you bring me on Marvel stuff, I'm in. See ya.
All right, so
we'll be here for 2 more hours.
Matt, the floor is yours.
All right, so we'll do Captain Marvel first.
Captain Marvel.
I suppose.
You saw Captain Marvel, right?
I've seen it twice now.
You've seen it twice. It was that good.
I think it's very good. Yeah.
You think it's very good.
Michael
Michael and I haven't seen it.
No.
So
it's,
just so it's said. So
I won't get into spoilers, but I think the relationship between Captain Marvel and Nick Fury in the movie is really good.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard to talk about without getting into spoilers because for Endgame and everything, but let's just say I'm excited for Endgame. I think it'll be a good movie. It's a fun. They bring back a lot of characters from like Guardians of the Galaxy too, like Ronan. He's in it, and they also have I forget. There's a couple of them in there. If you ever watch the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. like television shows, the Kree, who have like the blue skin and everything, are in it.
That's the one guy with the raspy voice with the arrow, right?
I don't know if he's Kree.
What's his name?
He was in The Walking Dead, I think.
Yeah, Michael Rooker. That's the actor.
That's the actor. Oh, gosh. I can't remember what his name is.
Yeah, I can't think of the character right now. Yondu. I don't know if he was Kree, but regardless. But there's a couple of characters that are. But that was pretty cool. It was a nice change of pace for Marvel. It was a good blend of like on Earth stuff and in space stuff. Usually it's like one or the other. This one kind of like mixed with both.
Okay.
So I thought it was a good time. Yeah. Give it like a solid 8 out of 10 if I had to grade it. I'd say.
Really, in comparison to Infinity War, what was Infinity War for you?
Probably like a 9.
Probably like a 9. Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah, I like Infinity War quite a bit. I mean, obviously it was meant to be 2 parts. They originally announced it as 2 parts. Now with Endgame coming out, and they filmed at the same time,
right.
So I see why it was a bit of a cliffhanger at the end, but.
Oh man, so that just wasn't like
good.
that wasn't just Chris Evans making a fashion choice. They made him shave on the moment.
Probably.
Wow.
They probably, yeah.
So really, I'd like to see a picture of him right now. Like, what is it? Clean shaven? Is
he had a stash for a while. That was really funny.
Wow.
That cracked me up. Yeah, but
I feel like Captain Marvel is definitely a good warm up to Endgame.
Yeah, she's so overpowered too. Like you thought Thor was like overpowered. Yo, she's like insane. Like,
what are her powers explicitly? Because I don't know Captain. I've never read like a Captain Marvel comic or anything.
So I believe in the comics, and I didn't really read any yet. I'm probably gonna get to it eventually. In the comics, I believe she like absorbs energy and like can use that to her abilities. But as far as I saw in the movie, she's just shooting energy like everywhere. Like she's got like a limited supply, and she's like flying and everything. Dude, I'm telling you, like she's insane.
I read in an interview that for now they were just focusing on the character and the story, and they weren't necessarily focusing on any Achilles heels, but they were going to look at adding that in potential sequels. Which you look at how she's done and how Black Panther's done. You know that there's going to be sequels for those movies.
Oh yeah, sure.
Those movies did phenomenally.
Yeah,
but I had read that. So wait, we do find out what happens to Nick Fury's eye.
Yes.
Yes. Care to comment?
I'm indifferent about it.
You're indifferent?
Because it's kind of a humorous thing, and
Does that make it anticlimactic?
I mean, it's just like a small moment at the end, really. But it kind of messes with the whole timeline, because if you remember in Captain America the Winter Soldier, have you guys both seen that?
Yes.
Okay, you got to watch that. That's the best movie in the entire MCU.
There's a lot of MCU movies I have to watch.
You have to.
That's the best one.
That or Civil War. That's pretty. They're pretty close.
I like Civil War. I did see Civil War. I also like Homecoming. Spider-Man Homecoming was
such Spider-Man Homecoming.
Yeah.
It's like it's not just a good Marvel movie. It's such a good movie in general.
Yeah,
like the themes and what's going on in that movie. Seriously, that whole comic. They make that kid so like Tobey Maguire Spider-Man was just so whiny, and that fit for a while. But like that really grates on you.
I have such a soft spot for those movies.
I do too, but
I know what you mean. No, I agree though.
He's such a whiny. I don't. But they make Tom Holland Spider-Man. He is so youthful and so energetic, and there's this like
relatable too.
Relatable dorky energy that I love about him. So I'm actually surprised. Before we started this podcast, we actually watched the most recent Endgame trailer just to get caught up on what things are looking like for next month. And I didn't see any Spider-Man in there.
No,
I saw no Spider-Man.
No, I didn't.
So
is
this some kind of correlation with Far From Home, or what's going on? Like is he not really going to be in this movie? Like
they just started making him a character.
You better put him in. You better put him in.
Yeah.
Like I'm just.
We'll see. I got it.
Thing is, I'll
Matt,
cut you off. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
It's supposed to be a 3-hour movie.
It is 3 hours and 2 minutes, I believe.
Yeah.
No, I don't think I can go 3 hours without seeing Tom Holland in the Marvel movie.
Dude, I saw an Ant-Man double feature. That was kind of rough. I'm not gonna lie. So I think I can do it.
The double feature, you saw 1 and then 2 right back to back.
Back to back.
I don't know if I could
15-minute gap.
I don't know if I could.
Those aren't bad movies.
I mean, they're not bad.
The first one was good, but the second one I hated it. I thought it was awful. I thought it was dumb.
I mean, I think they're both like fine. I thought the first one was very refreshing after Age of Ultron.
Right.
Age of Ultron, I thought was kind of a small bit of a dud.
Yeah.
Yeah, just a little bit.
Other than that, that's why Bruce Allen liked it so much. Ant-Man is just kind of ridiculous. I don't know.
It's true.
He's just silly, man.
It's true.
Yeah.
And like seeing those movies back to back, like he's not as important character of the MCU as, let's say, Spider-Man, or let's say Thor or Iron Man, you know what I mean? So just watching those movies back to back, you can't really think that like anything really important, like detrimental to the universe is going to happen.
Yeah.
Though I do like how after so what happens in Civil War, can we spoil it? We can spoil Civil War.
Yeah, as long as we put a warning.
Okay, spoiler alert for Civil War. At the end of Civil War, they all get arrested and they go to jail because they stuck it to the government. And they went to jail for it. But then they get broken out, and then or Ant-Man or whatever, they have him under house arrest. And I think there's something really human about that. They go on these grand and epic adventures, but then at the end of the day they get arrested for it, and then he gets thrown in under house arrest, and he only gets to see his daughter part of it. And I thought they did that well. It was just the rest of and the dorky humor was just the ant puns were just a little bit too much for me. Puns.
Yeah.
I'm not a fan of puns. Puns are the groin shot of humor, I think.
I agree.
Groin shot.
I agree.
They're so weak.
It's
Yeah. One of my best friends, Joe Naughton. Shout out to
oh
Joe.
my lord,
Shout out to Joe Naughton.
is the pun king,
He's the pun king.
literally.
And I make fun of him for it whenever I can, even when I can't.
Yeah. What are our theories for Endgame here? What do we think is going to happen based off the trailers?
They reverse, and all the people. Okay, spoiler for Infinity War.
Yeah. Yes. Big time.
Half the characters died.
Whoa, they do?
At the end of Infinity War. If you've been living under a rock, that's what happens. You know, those jokes that people make about dust. Those that's where
Mr. Stark, I don't feel so good.
Yeah, that's where those jokes come from. I think that the people who died, and the people who died were all sort of the side characters, and the people who stayed alive were sort of the mainline characters throughout the entire series. So like the people who really lived were like Captain America, Iron Man, Black Widow, Hulk, Thor. Like those guys, they lived. But like all the new people, like SpiderMan and Black Panther, and all the sort of not necessarily periphery. I think they're going to be people who take over the series pretty soon.
Oh yeah, for sure.
But they died. They're gone. I think that they're going to reverse. I think that you know,
Yeah.
Thor's going to die. I think they're going to have to bring some kind of conclusion, like a Spock and Kirk sort of conclusion to Tony and what even is Chris Evans' character?
Steve Rogers.
Steve Rogers. That's right.
Yeah, I agree. I don't know if everybody's going to die. I think they might keep a couple of people around just because, you know, to have some like references and callbacks in future movies. I think, you know, they're obviously going to do sequels to Spider-Man. They're already doing that. Captain Marvel, Black Panther, Doctor Strange probably, especially how that movie left. Have you guys seen that?
Doctor Strange, the movie.
Yeah.
That movie is like... That movie is a trip.
It's a lot, man.
That's like the ultimate dream sequence. Like, oh man, there's a lot of special effects are just funky.
Yeah. I think we'll get sequels to them. And keep in mind, Disney also just bought out Fox. So we get Fantastic Four. We'll get X-Men probably.
I'm actually going to audition for the part of Wolverine.
Oh yeah.
Young Wolverine. I've got the chops for it.
You just gotta get the mutton chops going.
Yeah, I can grow it out.
Let's do it.
There are pictures floating around of me with Wolverine chops. Thanks, Joe Naughton. Anyways.
Yeah, I think that's going to be like Phase 2 probably. Maybe like the second half they're going to introduce Fantastic Four.
Do you mean like Phase 2 or like part? Like what are they calling it? Because they're going to cap like at the end of Endgame. That's the end of like the first season.
I believe they said they're going to call this the Infinity Saga. Or
Saga,
that.
Yeah. And then there's a whole new saga.
Yeah, and that's, you know, keep in mind this is 22 movies. It's going to be 22 movies with Endgame. And how many, 5 seasons of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., which ties into it the most, I'd say.
Yeah, but nobody cares about the TV shows.
Hey, that's a very good show, I'll have you know. And then obviously Netflix shows, but they don't tie in as much, and all of them are canceled now. Plus, they're having the new streaming service come out, Disney, whatever it's going to be called, with original shows.
Disney Infinity.
I think that, Disney.
That's some toy game.
Yeah.
Or something like that. Disney XD.
That's Disney XD2.
XD2.
But I think they'll continue it on with that. I'm excited. I want them to get Fantastic Four right. Just knock my headphone off because I'm so furious about it. Because the first 2 movies were just so cartoony. I have not seen the new one because I heard it's like horrendous.
Yeah.
And just wanted to get it right, man. It's just so tough.
Do you think Fantastic Four and X-Men, do you think they're going to eventually like usher them into the MCU? Or do you think they're just going to be
they're going to
like
reboot them completely. I think Deadpool they're going to keep, I think they said.
Yeah.
Because Deadpool, you can break the fourth wall and just do it. Yeah. They don't care about that. But X-Men, that needs a reboot. This new movie's not looking great.
Yeah.
Apocalypse was like fine.
Dark Phoenix?
Yeah.
Apocalypse was the worst. I hated Apocalypse.
Yeah, I mean...
It was so bad.
But I like Days of Future's Past and everything, but I just think the whole focus on Jennifer Lawrence as a character is not, Mystique. It doesn't fit her character as what she should be. Like she's supposed to be like this mysterious spy, yet she's acting like a whole like leader of like the X-Men. I'm like, ugh.
Yeah.
Like, whatever. I don't. That's my small rant about the X-Men.
I like the earlier movies.
Yeah.
And then First Class, I think I saw part of that, and then I saw part of Days of Future Past. and I like those, and I think the whole dynamic between young X-Men and old X-Men, I think that works.
Yeah.
It's just, I don't know.
It's hard to do any more movies like that.
It's hard to continue after, especially after Logan. Like the timeline is just so weird. It's like
it is. It's very weird. Yeah.
So
because Logan they made after the Days of Futures Past, and that's in the old timeline technically. So I mean that's pretty much closed after Logan now, but it's it's very like pick and choosy with the X-Men movies for me. Like I like X2, I like First Class, I like Days of Futures Past, I like Logan. I even like the first or the second Wolverine movie, just called The Wolverine, where he's like in Japan. That one was really cool.
I don't know. I didn't feel that aesthetic. I don't know. It is the aesthetic of the movie that kind of messed me up. I like the first. Well, no, I did not like the first. Well,
the X-Men Origins Wolverine.
If you take it at face value, the first movie in that entire that was the first one they made, right?
The X-Men Origins Wolverine, or you mean just like X-Men, like an 02 X-Men?
In terms of X-Men.
2000. Yeah, it was just called X-Men. It came out in like 2000.
Oh, that's right.
2000 or 02. I might be getting the mixed up with SpiderMan. I'll look it up right now.
I mean, there were some good parts of Wolverine, like the whole motorcycle scene, that whole scene, like with X-Men Origins Wolverine. That was good, but like the whole ending with
Deadpool,
that was just awful. That was
2000. It's going on for 19 years now.
Oh wow,
it's crazy, man.
What a way to end.
What a way to end. I mean, we'll see. The new one comes out in June, I believe. So
I'm not gonna see it.
I mean, I probably will just for some closure.
Maybe I will. Maybe I'll go see it with my dad.
And they also have that horror movie that's supposed to be coming out, The New Mutants. You know, have you seen the trailer for that?
I saw a teaser a long time ago.
Yeah,
I haven't even heard that.
That got pushed back like a year and a half, and I'm going to tell you right now, that movie's not coming out. I will say it here. If that movie comes out, I'd be shocked.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, you have heard it here. Exclusive Slate A&E Podcast news.
Yeah.
New Mutants is not being released.
I just don't. If it does, I think it's just going to be like a streaming service because it got delayed by over a year. Something was wrong. Mm-hmm. So they must have had to do extensive reshoots, and it doesn't even have like a release date now.
And now with the whole Fox acquisition.
And with the whole buyout, man, I think they just want to bury that whole thing.
To be honest, that sounds like a concept worth burying.
Yeah, I mean, it's like cool, but like, I don't know.
It's a cool concept, but people don't want to know about New Mutants. They want to know about the characters that they've come to love. Yeah.
Right.
You know, if I want to go see a superhero movie, I want to see a superhero movie about superheroes I have an established relationship to.
Right.
Which means like Wolverine, Spider-Man, Iron Man, you know, Captain America. These people that I've read comic books or played video games about or have seen previous movies about. I want to see about them.
Right. And if they're going to introduce, new characters, you have to do it right, and not just with some like rushed horror movie. I feel like.
Yeah.
Unless they do it right. I mean, obviously there's good horror movies that build character and everything, but.
I'm gonna drop a question. Okay. What did you boys think of the Venom movie? Oh man,
I have a soft spot for that movie too. I really do. I know it's not great. That's the thing. Like I know it's not good, but I enjoyed it.
I like the Eminem song.
What?
Oh yeah, the Venom. Yeah.
And I haven't seen the movie.
All right, good.
Song's good though.
Yeah.
I thought it was a bad movie. I liked it.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
the thing is, I think it got overhyped. Somewhat. Yeah.
I think the look of Venom really overhyped it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and a lot of people thought like, oh, this is gonna be such a great movie, and then when it came out, all I was hearing was it was okay. Yeah.
I just think it's dumb that it's not in the MCU.
Yeah.
Because they really nailed the look of Venom here. Mm-hmm. I think Tom Hardy's great. But
I think they also nailed the relationship between the alien thing, the symbiote, and then Eddie Brock.
I agree. Yeah,
because they framed the movie in such a way where in one frame of the camera you'd be seeing Eddie talking to himself, and he looks like he's absolutely like bonkers talking to himself, and then in another frame, bless you, in another frame he it turns around and just like you see Eddie is having a conversation with Venom. And they move the head of the symbiote off of Eddie's face so you can see Eddie's face and the symbiote's face talking to one another. And so you're seeing it through Eddie's eyes, and it makes complete sense. It's just alien thing that's in his head talking to him. It's completely normal. He's not crazy or anything. but then everyone on the outside just looks at him like he's a nutter.
Yeah.
I think they nailed that right. I think the humor was, I don't know if it was the right humor for the movie, because it felt like they marketed it as a horror movie. It really felt like a horror movie, like especially just like the tone of the movie. But then they'd have like these silly like little gags. So it's like, Eddie, I want to eat people's heads, and it's like
Pancreas.
Pancreas.
Come on, dude.
So it felt like the movie couldn't decide what it wanted to be.
Yeah.
And then they cut like a whole lot of scenes from the end to make it
PG-13.
well, not even that, just shorten it, because it was already a long movie.
Yeah.
And Tom Hardy said in an interview that he thought that his favorite scenes were cut from the movie.
Yeah, I did read that. Now you mentioned that. Do you want to get into spoilers a little bit?
If you want, yeah.
Okay, spoiler warning for Venom here. But the after credits scene with Cletus Cassidy, a.k.a. Carnage. What do we think about that?
I don't know. I don't know Carnage too well from the comics or anything, but like I don't. So,
I can speak on that a little bit too.
Go ahead.
I've read Maximum Carnage.
Go ahead. You know it.
So, Carnage is pretty much just like a killing machine. He doesn't have much depth. He's just kind of like crazy. That's it. Because Cletus Cassidy is supposed to be like a serial killer, I'm pretty sure, in the comics. First of all, I thought Woody Harrelson's wig looks ridiculous. Because you know the dude's bald. And they put this like Ronald McDonald looking wig on him at the end.
Ronald McDonald looking wig.
Yeah, so. Yeah. I just want them to put in the MCU. That's it. Just please.
It'd be nice, yeah.
Gonna get the Spider logo, complete the look, and because right now it just doesn't make much sense. So, unless Sony's trying to build their own universe and compete for some reason, even though they're working with Marvel.
Yeah.
That don't make much sense to me, but Sony's gonna do what Sony's gonna do, I guess, man.
Ain't that the truth?
Yeah.
So, have we hammered the Marvel topic enough?
Oh, I think so.
Yeah. I think so.
I could go on all day, and I don't. I don't want to keep everybody here just talking about Marvel. Let's talk about DC. No, I could.
No.
Yo, Shazam.
What else?
I haven't seen it yet.
Shazam.
Did you see it?
No, it didn't come out yet. It comes out. Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, they had an early screening. That's what I'm saying.
Oh, okay.
Ooh.
Yeah, I'm pumped for Shazam.
From the trailers, it looks pretty funny.
It looks like it would be
getting
fun.
good reviews.
Yeah, a good fun movie. Maybe that'll save the DC universe.
We'll see.
I don't think anything can. And that's such this. And I want to get off of superheroes because we've been hammering that a while bit now, and we talked a bit about that last week.
Yeah.
But it's just so sad that Batman versus Superman, like if you look at it from like not necessarily like a moviegoer standpoint, but if you're like a really like, I don't know, if you look at it, if you really deconstruct it in an academic almost way, it's a good movie. There's a lot of good things going on here.
Sure.
But I don't know, like especially the theatrical release, because they released two different versions, right?
Yes.
The theatrical release wasn't a complete movie.
Ultimate Edition's way better.
Yeah.
Have you seen that?
Have you seen that?
No.
Michael's behind, but I saw the version that they have on. I saw the version they have on HBO Go back when I lived in the dorms, and it was all right. Like I liked it. I thought it was a good movie, even though Batman killed people, and even though whatever happened at the end. That spoiler alert that Superman dies, and I liked it. I thought it was a good movie, and I thought it was really dramatic in the right ways, and the music was so good. I love the music. I listened to this.
Is that Hans Zimmer?
I think, yeah.
Yeah, I think it was Hans Zimmer and Junkie XL, I think, did that.
Maybe, yeah.
Sounds about right.
Anyways, it was so sad how that movie failed in its theatrical release, and that basically killed the DC universe.
Yeah. It's Ultimate Edition's better, though. I mean, it's like 3 hours, but it expands on a lot of the plot points, especially for Superman, but that's a whole nother topic.
Yeah.
It's better. It's still not, like, perfect, but I agree with what you're saying.
So what else do we want to talk about here? I've got a topic, but I want to make sure you guys get your word in.
I could talk about some small indie band that nobody knows about.
Sure, go ahead, shoot.
Well, I know. I was just saying in general. I really didn't have one on top of my mind. But
okay, so I can talk about a little bit here. I was writing a commentary, and it's not quite done. It's actually a part of a bigger feature I'm writing for reviewing the arts for publication. I'm taking a class on that, and we're doing a big final project about an issue in the world of critiquing the arts or something like that. And so I chose mine to be on the video game corporate culture and how sort of the big publishers and the big corporations have sort of abandoned the the players,
I could talk
the
about this.
audience,
Yep.
Yeah,
and
for
how
sure. Let's go.
and how sort of and it's a big topic. Any gamer can relate to it. Anyone
I agree.
who's really into playing games,
Yeah.
can relate to this topic, because the practices of the publishers and the big corporations like EA, like Microsoft, like all these big groups, they're money grubbing. All they're making games to. It reminds me almost of in history colonialism, because colonialism oriented the economies of the people that they colonized to be completely export. So nothing that they do is sort of self how do I put it? Self-sustaining. It's so their economies are built to be funded by the parent country. And so it's a complete extraction economy. So you extract the resources until it's out of depleted of resources, and you don't really care for the customer or the consumer, or in that case, the colonized nation. And so this practice really reminds me of that, because it feels like games as a service are doing a disservice to players. And it's not to say that what's happening out in the video game world is the same as colonialism, but I think it's a similar concept, because the publishers are treating players like infinite money banks.
Yeah.
And so the games as services, basically that model is, and I'm going to try and get this definition right, because I don't think there's a textbook definition, but games as a service is a model where a game is built to keep on having players pay money for new content.
Basically, yeah.
And this is how Destiny did. Destiny released a decent game, I guess, right?
Mm-hmm.
But then there were all sorts of controversies with it, because then they would hide stuff behind paywalls, or they expand a certain part of the game so that you would be left way far behind than everyone else.
Yeah.
If you didn't get the expansion.
Yeah.
Or you would even cosmetically, they get like all these impressive cosmetics that you couldn't earn in game. And they did this with Fallout 76 as well, recent release Fallout 76, and that game was a dumpster fire. That game's release just put Bethesda back. Bethesda is this, for listeners who aren't necessarily familiar, Bethesda has had a long track record of producing good, albeit slightly buggy games,
Yep.
open world games, role-playing games, really great, fan favorites, like Morrowind.
Skyrim.
I still play Morrowind. Morrowind came out in 2002. I still play that game.
Yep.
My dad got it on the original Xbox. He loved it. I played it a bit. My dad's a gamer, but he loved it. I love it. Oblivion, played that for hours. Skyrim, I've got
Fallout New Vegas.
Fallout New Vegas.
Well,
yeah.
that's
Fallout New Vegas.
Obsidian.
Oh, no,
That's
you're right.
published
You're right.
it.
You're right.
Yeah.
All right.
But
Fallout
3 and 4.
Fallout 4, Fallout 76, and then they came out with Fallout 76. And the first thing, this is a really interesting point, because Fallout 76 released on the Bethesda launcher. Now that's on the computer. What game companies are starting to do nowadays is there used to be a universal platform called Steam.
Well, there still is.
Yeah.
But,
Well, rather, that used to be the dominant place.
Right.
And now game publishers have started making their own platforms, such as Ubisoft's whatever Uplay, EA Origins. What else is there?
The
There's
Epic Games Store.
Epic Games
and they're nice
Store.
old exclusives. So, yeah.
There's Epic Games. There's Microsoft Store. Microsoft is starting to stick its toes into the pool.
They're releasing Halo on Steam, though.
They are. That's what I'm getting into.
Yeah.
So there's been this wide trend of, while Steam was charging people extra money to put their games on its universal platform, ultimately it benefited the consumers, because the consumers had one central place where they could go and play their games on the computer, and that was great. And but now what people are starting to do is they're starting to do what years ago what Microsoft and Sony did with their systems. Games aren't necessarily, some video games can be exclusive to Xbox. For example, Halo was to Xbox. The SpiderMan game was exclusive to PlayStation. God of War was exclusive to PlayStation this past year. And what this happens is, because they make them exclusive, they make you buy their console. So if they had released Halo across all consoles for $60, maybe you'll pick up Halo, you'll be able to play it on a console. But now, 3 years after the release of Halo 5 on the Xbox One, I don't have an Xbox One. I still can't buy it. So I need to buy an Xbox One and pay the $200 or $300 for the console, just to be able to pick up a game that might be $10 used and play it.
Yeah.
And so what this does is it forces the consumer to buy the platform and basically spend extra money to buy an exclusive. So the market is divided into all these different systems. And so it used to be universal on the PC. But now, in the past year or so, especially in the past year or so, we've seen a rise in all these independent publisher platforms. So there was like EA Origins, like EA or Uplay, Ubisoft Uplay, what is it, the Microsoft Store, and all sorts of stuff like that. And we're starting to see a lot of people diverging. And so whereas there was the whole gaming marketplace was centralized on Steam, which was a launcher where all the games were centralized, where you could buy all your games. Now it's all spread out. And this is both good for the publishers, because now the publishers don't have to pay Steam every time someone buys a game off of Steam. They can just sell it, at lesser cost and keep more of the profit for themselves, cut out the middleman.
Right.
But now what's happening is all these groups are getting separated, and so now you've got to keep like 7 different accounts for all these launchers. And what makes it more is what makes this more of a problem is that, and I can't remember the exact this, but I read an article where it was said that Bethesda was making people go through their own launcher so that they could not get the same refunds that they could get through Steam through the Bethesda launcher. Yeah. And so this whole debacle with Fallout 76, basically they released a half-completed game that was meant to extract money out of the consumer without any concern
multiplayer only.
To provide a genuine fun experience. It was buggy, it was a mess, there were so many glitches, it was a half-complete game. But the very first day they started with an in-game marketplace where you can pay $5 of real money to buy your favorite outfit that you could have just gotten from Fallout 4 when you played Fallout 4 just by playing the game.
Yeah.
So the games are focused a lot more toward making money and a lot less away from making a good product. And CD Projekt Red, I think they did the exact opposite with their Witcher game.
I love them.
I heard it was so good, and I'm excited to finally be able to play the game.
You never played it?
I've had it for 2 years, couldn't get into it because of the story. I finally caught myself up on the story, like listening to YouTube, whatever.
Yeah.
And now I can't play it. I just don't have the time.
I've got about 120 hours in The Witcher 3.
Oh, gosh.
I could go on for days.
Imagine how much money you could make with those hours.
I know.
All that money, but...
All that money that you could give to Bethesda.
No.
Yeah, yep.
CD Projekt Red will... I'm getting the collector's edition of Cyberpunk when it comes out, but regardless, that's besides the point.
I feel like... I'm sorry.
Go on.
I feel like Bethesda just has, they have a history of doing that. Of doing these, greedy moves just to make money. I don't think they do. I feel just a little bit.
Of releasing very buggy games.
Yeah.
That's always been a thing. Yeah. I think the games as service is pretty new, especially when they started with... It was either Skyrim or Fallout, or they did around the same time. They had paid mods. People hated that. Mm-hmm. I hated that.
So for listeners, mods are modifications you can download onto your game.
Yeah.
And when it's single player... when it's multiplayer, it's a different deal. But when it's just single player games, you can download something that would give you a new outfit or a new weapon or a new like a horse or something, or it'll radically change the game. So add different music, add different textures. You can put Shrek into Skyrim or stuff
new
like
quests
that.
Too.
Just silly stuff.
It's new content.
It's mostly a PC thing. I play on consoles, but they released also for consoles. They did selective mods for consoles. So
they did this thing where members of the community can make mods, and then Bethesda can sell them on their store. And I don't know if they pay the people who make the mods or not.
I'm not sure. I'm not big into modding. I just know there was paid mods at some point, and I think that's where it really started.
There are paid mods, so you pay money to basically use user-generated content.
Mm-hmm. I mean, they see where the model's going for games. Originally it was back in the early 2010s. It was the whole online pass. Remember that? Mm-hmm. With I think Modern Warfare 3 and Battlefield 3 and all those had the online pass. Then we got, and they also had a season pass. Then they kind of got away from the online pass just to the season pass, and now most DLC packs are free. Mm-hmm. With Battlefield 5, they had, with Fallout even, the updates are all free new content, but they have microtransactions now.
Yeah.
So, depending on what scale, I think... after the whole Battlefront 2 thing with EA, I think they've mellowed out a little bit. I think Ubisoft is still... I think they make quality games, though. Activision, Call of Duty, forget it. It's just horrendous.
Yeah, they're done.
Because they still have the season pass. They still have microtransactions. They make it basically pay to win 2 months after each and every game comes out. Mm-hmm. It's ridiculous. They also had Destiny for a while, but they parted ways with Bungie, so that's not a thing anymore.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's my I agree that games as a service has really taken off, especially with Fortnite and Overwatch.
And the really nefarious thing about this is that what someone can do. So 6-year-old Timmy here can say, "Hey mom, I really want to buy this thing on Fortnite, and I really want it really bad, and I was wondering if I could have it, please." And so mom says, "Sure, yeah, Timmy, we can buy this thing for you." So she puts her credit card information into whatever, the Xbox or whatever Timmy's planning on. Timmy seems like an Xbox kid to me. And so Timmy in this story, he has mom put in the credit card information. It saves the credit card information. And so now Timmy can get his favorite, I don't know, pickaxe or outfit or whatever in Fortnite. And so now Timmy being a not disciplined 6-year-old who doesn't know how to handle money, because I don't imagine many 6-year-olds are financially literate. I wasn't that financially literate when I was 6 years old. And so now he has his credit card. And they did this with Minecraft too. Years ago, there's so many debacles of systems like this. But Timmy goes on with his mom's credit card, and because the information is saved there, he can buy all the stuff he wants on Fortnite.
I've seen horror stories about that.
There are horror stories out there where for online Minecraft servers, which were built under the same model, built to extort children who borrow their parents' credit cards just to buy this one little thing, and then the kid not having the restraint to be able to know when to stop or how much is too much, goes on and buys like all this diamond stuff on Minecraft, and then because the game companies, they're largely decentralized, or rather the servers on Minecraft at least were so largely decentralized, it was like these people were pocketing like millions and millions of dollars from all these children who would go on and buy this stuff. And it was awful. And that's why Microsoft had to centralize everything on Minecraft, which really was not fun, because it hurt the smaller guys in the long run.
Yeah. It's, but go ahead.
All you.
I forgot what I was going to say, so go ahead.
Okay, well, I guess we can kind of move into something you mentioned earlier. So Microsoft is bringing Halo to the PC.
Sure.
And so what they did was, originally when they released the first 2 Halo games, they put that on PC. I think they put that on like Windows Vista or something. But Microsoft had put they stopped putting Halo on PC, especially with the Xbox 360.
At Halo 3,
if you wanted to play Halo, which is this amazing, iconic game, especially during that era, like if you wanted to be cool, you had Halo. You played Halo. If you wanted to play Halo, you had to buy an Xbox 360 for $200 or $300, however much it was at the time. And that goes back to that practice we talked about earlier. But now they're putting it on PC, and this seems to be like a little glimmer of hope in the universe that something's going to go right. Microsoft is doing the right thing now.
Yeah.
Because previously they made you buy an Xbox to play Halo, but now they're putting it on PC. So now you can play the entire Master Chief Collection, which is all the Halo games. Pretty much at this point, all the Halo games except Halo 5.
Yeah.
Which eventually I'm guessing they're going to try and put it on there as well. I
think so, and Reach is coming soon too.
Reach is coming. They put Halo 3 ODST, which is a phenomenal game, by the way. All these games that were originally just on the Xbox, you had to pay money for on the PC. So now I don't have to buy a $200 Xbox to be able to play these favorite games from my childhood.
Yeah.
I can just put it on my computer. And the whole, this is something that I don't think we touched on really, but that's important, is with computers, it's not just a game console. Because you can do your work, you can do all your professional work on these as well. So I do all my academic work on my laptop, which can also play video games, and that's convenient to me. I don't want to have to buy a laptop and then an Xbox. It's convenient just to put it in one place.
Right.
And so what Microsoft is doing now with their Microsoft Store, you can buy all the Halo games, which used to be just on the Xbox, on a computer. And what that does to me, and additionally, it's all going through Steam. And so this seems like a blatant 180 to everything we have talked about so far, because all these game companies are decentralizing to make their own platforms to basically do whatever they want and to monopolize on their games, whereas Microsoft is now putting it on the store. And you have to go through Microsoft Store or Steam to buy the game, but at the same time you can play on the computer, and that's something that has not been, you would have never guessed before they dropped that news,
Yeah.
that they would have done that.
Well, they've been doing that for a little bit. It's called Xbox Play Anywhere.
Well, they have, yeah, well, putting some of their games, but you wouldn't
exclusives, yeah.
you wouldn't think that. You would think that they would continue going on with this idea that you have to buy an Xbox to be able to play our games, our exclusives.
Especially with such a renowned series as Halo.
Yeah, you would think that they being Microsoft being as greedy as everyone says Microsoft is, that they would want to put things exclusively on Xbox, but complete 180. And that's so wonderful. I think that's so healthy for the consumer. That's so wonderful for us.
Yeah.
To be able to have that centralized sort of thing.
It's going to give Microsoft good press in the long run, too.
Yeah, I think
so.
I think they've been doing in the second half of this whole console generation, I think they've been doing the best work with backwards compatibility, being very pro-consumer. You can play your old games.
Yeah.
With, just keeping up with Xbox Game Pass. They have it's a subscription service, $10 a month. You get a bunch of games, for people who can't really buy the newest games all the time. Yeah. And all of their first-party games go on there right away. So when a new Halo comes out, it's going right to Game Pass if you have it. New Forza, everything, it all goes right to there. So I think that's really, good for, what they're trying to do. I think Sony's fallen off a little bit with that. Backwards compatibility is huge for me, and putting it, Xbox Play Anywhere and everything. I think they've been killing it. So
there's a few things about Microsoft that, I agree. I think they're doing it better than Sony, but I think there's just a few things. For instance, if you are subscribed to the Game Pass into Xbox Live, you can't unsubscribe from your account. You have to actually,
Oh, that's sketchy. I agree.
No. Because I'm subscribed to Game Pass, and I forgot my Microsoft account. And so I don't know how to, they make you
have to go on their website. You can't do it from the Xbox.
Yeah.
I agree. I think they should change that.
It's really sketchy.
That's ridiculous. But I see why they do it, but at the same time.
Yeah.
So we're coming up on 56 minutes here. So I think we're gonna start to transition out. So we will leave you guys with a question. What do you think is the future of gaming? Are we going to see a decline in? Are we going to start seeing people try to centralize back on this theme, or are we going to see a more decentralized effort of games just completely being separated on the PC? Or are we going to see people move away from the PC back to the consoles, or are we going to see consoles die once and for all? Hopefully, that's my opinion. That's my personal opinion. This is John here, John Bergmueller. This is Matt Weisbecker and Michael Donegan.
Big Iron.
Michael Big Iron Donegan. There's a backstory to be told, but on a different podcast.
Yeah,
Thank you for listening, and be sure you pick up your copy of the Slate either in person or alternatively go onto theslateonline.com, and we'll see you when we see you. We don't know if that's going to be next week or a week after, but we will see you real soon. Goodbye.